Hey guys, I'm so excited for our talk today. I've been waiting for these types of talks to get real healers out into the public eye. We're talking about women's health a lot today, and it's a topic that I think I would bring in this beautiful doctor that I met many years ago. Her name is Dr. Leiva. And before we get into that, I just wanted to cover a couple things, guys. And it has to do with being a healer or finding a healer or finding a special person that can address your health issue. I've met thousands and thousands of doctors, and it appears to be a cookie cutter type of system with a lot of people. Not that their level of care is lacking, but you can tell when you meet someone that has a real mission, a real purpose toward helping others. And it's a rare thing after all these years, finding people that are really healers in the sense that it's not just a job. And I think, especially with women's health, this one's for you guys. I'll be bringing up topics today that can really help you. I think a lot of the women out there were left for dead, and there's an amazing story that we'll get into as well. Typically, what I find with some of the best healers out there is they have the most insane pain to purpose story. It's almost like they shouldn't be here, but they survived and they're here. And another characteristic is that they're very nonchalant. They're very comfortable in their skin. They're very confident in what their abilities are, and they're very well versed in their research and their time they're spending learning all these modalities. So in the end, we people like us can get the things that we need and get some honest answers. So without much more, I'm going to bring on Dr. Leiva. There she is. Dr. Leiva, how are you and what have you been up to? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, if I just came for that intro in itself, it definitely made my day and my week. So you filled my heart with that intro, um, because it's real and it's deep. And I know that you know me, just like I know you and your passion behind your product. And I think that's why we connect so well, because you are trying to make a change in the world through what you do. And I truly believe that's why we are here. I I've been told by many people they're surprised what I've been through, the joy I have after I did the Biohack Yourself documentary where RFK is in it. And after I told my story, which it always starts from the pain to purpose, because I am younger and I do have a lot of degrees. I work with people with spinal cord injury, stroke. Some people can't walk or talk, nonverbal children, UFC athletes, NFL players, really anybody across the spectrum, old to young, whether it's a body, mind, or spirit issue. I treat everybody. And some people don't understand why. But once they hear my story, they say, I wish I knew that to begin with, because I would have listened to you a long time ago. And there's nothing like experience. And to go through something and heal yourself, you are a walking example. And I believe in God, and it puts us in paths that we don't understand until we're there along the way. And people who've gone through trauma, I believe, have that ability to be more in the present moment, because you don't know what tomorrow holds. My mother was transitioned because the hospital overdosed her on blood thinner. I recently stopped saying the word my mother was killed. My mother was killed, because if you're defined by the trauma consistently, you're going to be in that disease model. But being diagnosed with Crohn's disease at 13 years old, I had numerous surgeries. I had numerous procedures. I had numerous experiences of sexual inappropriateness from physicians, because back in the day, I was born in 84, you didn't have to have anybody in the room with you. And there's a lot of things that happen, especially with pelvic floor, which is where we're going to go later in this conversation. So I've been dealing with pelvic floor issues since I was little. And that's very hard for anybody, I think, male or female, going through puberty, going to the bathroom 100 times a day, throwing up. People think that you have an eating disorder. and there's a lot of reverse shame. Like people wouldn't say to someone, you're fat, but when you're skinny and I am smart, I was in all advanced classes. I was also a Hawaiian tropic model. So when you're smart and people perceive you to look good, when you're going through an invisible illness, there's a lot of emotional and mental aspects to that, because people might, again, think you have an eating disorder when that was not the case with me. And I was blessed. My mom introduced me to plant medicine when I was younger. So medical marijuana, I'm proud to be an advocate for that. And again, my path was built through all of these things, because I wouldn't eat, I wouldn't sleep, I wouldn't go to the bathroom. And I even had to manually manipulate myself to go to the bathroom. And that when I became a doctor of physical therapy and we were learning pelvic floor health, some people were like, "Oh my God, that's a dildo." I'm like, "Does insurance pay for that? Can I get one?" No, I'm joking. But but
I knew it would be crazy. Real quick, Dr. Leiva, I think there's a lot of people out there, and especially women, who are looking for places to go. And a lot of their situation never gets heard.
yeah,
I think a lot of women experience different things, but the story never gets told. They're silenced, unfortunately, in so many different ways because of society. Today I wanted to cover like the trauma that someone had to ensue to make them who they are, right? It's like the worst possible thing where it could be so devastating, and to make it over the fence to the other side is a lifelong work. So, all seriousness, like, could you give us some of your story, or kind of like where the magic occurred now? Like, where did it start? Because women don't get to tell their story really.
gotcha.
And once they hear it, like, there's always a story that you never want to tell is the story that you should tell.
It is true. So I'm going to go back really far. And again, plant medicine helped me with that, but things are ancestral, right? So we could go back really, really, really far. And we don't have all the time for that. However, again, it's, the environment at home. There was mental health issues in my home. There was abuse that was going on in a very uh, non-visible way, so it's hard to complain about that, if you don't have bruises or cuts. And it's a lot of mental stuff, and just being prescribed lots of medicines, not having insurance, getting a lot of surgeries, and then speeding up. I have a 5-minute YouTube video. I was hospitalized 9 months, intubated, and also pregnant. So going through that is almost like level 500 million Buddha training, like not eating, being pregnant, being told you're going to die. And when you're disconnected, I don't want to say from mankind, but man's word, because every word that was told to me, I didn't align with my spirit, my heart, my soul. And that's when I connected closer and closer with God, within myself and all around, because any veteran I know that was in a foxhole or in really deep trouble, everybody connects with God, and that's what happens. So you get a clear message, and it's very peaceful. I was told, I got that my kids were going to be fine. I'm going to make it through this. I'm going to be on stage one day. I'm going to talk about my story. Follow up, I got out of the hospital from being intubated. I lost all my teeth, so I had to go through dental work. I learned about jaw pain. I lost my hair. I had to learn about a lot of things about losing that outside self, especially if you're a model and people treat you a certain way because you're beautiful. And then one day you look like a Holocaust survivor and you don't have hair and you don't have teeth, so you learn different layers of life. And it really does, each one give you a strength, and not a backpack of weight, but a stronger skin. And that's okay. For example, and this is terrible, but again, with my mother, I had a business deal happen and someone like really effed me over. I don't know what type of language I could use here. And the person saw me and they said, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And I thought, and really in reality, like I've been through so much, this has no effect on my life. And it's just like my son who's 17. He experienced his mother in the hospital for 9 months when he was in third grade. And not third grade, yeah, third or fourth grade. But I felt so bad for him. I was gone, and my father told me he's going to have a resilience other kids might not be aware of. And he doesn't really get involved in that day-to-day drama. So really going through those pain helped me become stronger. Just honestly always turn to my passion and my purpose. Life gets hard, you know, the current events on TV. So you do what you can, you do your best, and when you're on your path of purpose, you're doing better for the whole world, and it shows. So you know, I built nutrition around not having good food and having a bad stomach. I built my practice around not being able to feel my arm and my mother having a stroke. So I got electrical stimulation devices. I got your bioscanner, and I have brain scanners so we can do diagnostics and prevent, you know, disease rather than have to treat it and be so, you know, deteriorated by the time we get there. So again, everything I've been through is how I built this practice, and it's definitely considered a one-stop shop. We just took over the whole building, opened a hot yoga studio, the Zen Powerhouse. My clients love me, and because I do so much and I keep learning, every degree on my wall has a purpose. And that's why I started consulting people when they open their businesses and they don't want to take insurance. You know, insurance doesn't pay for the therapy I have. So I teach doctors how to get out of that insurance billing model because it really limits them. I help my patients buy homes and not purchase it. I'm not a real estate agent, but guide them on red light, anti-aging beds, you know, grounding frequency devices, how to have the best home environment. Because again, you can heal somebody, but if you're putting them back in a bad environment, which is a lot of my story and why I had disease for so long, you're not going to get better. So there's all the pillars of health. That's my business, and that's why I created multiple businesses to support, you know, that. And I love all your products. That's why I have it here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And so through all this insanity that ensued, and there's more depth, there's a lot of stuff here.
Yeah.
And on the flip side of that, she has over 3 degrees. She did the traditional training. She's also a yoga instructor certified. So like the woman out there that has children, what can you say to her that she may be missing some of this knowledge? She may be having some things that she needs to work on. What can you say as someone that could essentially communicate that kind of that femininity or bring across that type of healing? What could you say to her?
So first, I would like to say, you know, as a mother, and I have a big gap. I have a 17-year-old and an 8-year-old. So with my first, I was definitely a lot younger, more immature, and with my second, I raised him very differently. So first of all, if that's you and one child, for example, I don't know if we can talk about vaccination or food or diet, but if you did one thing with one child and you do something else with another, that's okay because some mothers feel guilty. Like if they learned after a first child or after someone had something happen. So the time is now. It's never too late to start learning, and you always want to lead by example. So you want to educate yourself because you don't want to always just listen to what everybody's telling you. I tell moms, you don't want to be a thermometer where you go in different environments and it can make you go hot and cold, like where you listen to this doctor, they tell you what to do. You listen to this person, they tell you what to do. You want to be the temperature changer. You want to create that within yourself. Do I agree with this? And having a membership to a center like mine or access to really good podcasts, getting second opinions, educating yourself. I mean, the information's out there. You can ask ChatGPT almost anything, but you do want to verify it, you know, and that's why it's good to have someone like myself or someone you trust because there's always a starting point. Having a women's group and support is one of the best things I can recommend because there is so many people going through what you're going through, no matter what you think. And no matter what you're going through, someone wishes they were you. Because if you think on the other side of the world where some women have no choices, so being grateful, and it takes away pain, it takes away depression, and you have to get yourself out of there if that's where you are, educating yourself and having a starting point. Like, it's okay if you have a donut. I tell mothers, or their kid accidentally drank Gatorade at a soccer field, and they're like, I can't join the holistic movement. I was caught with a Gatorade. There's a lot of shame in the biohacking world or the health world. Like, if you're not perfect, you're not a biohacker, you're not a health person. I believe in balance. And I think that that's where you have to start. When you start shining, your skin starts shining, you're happy, your kids notice. My kids notice me starting a business, and what health does for me. They've seen me get out of hospital beds. They've seen me tell them, don't say I'm sick. They want to stay home. I'm sick. I'm sick. I said, that's a mantra. Your words are powerful. Never say you're sick. If you want to stay home and hang with mom, tell me. I'm a cool mom. But like, there's ways to teach your children and empower yourself. I'm having a pelvic floor class, and it's online, so you can join from anywhere. It's only $69. It's a lot of fun. You do have to be over 18 because we do use this stimulator. And again, that's why people trust me. I talk about the things nobody wants to talk about, like peeing on yourself. Sometimes people go to the bathroom when they're having sex, or they're scared to have sex because of things they've been through. And when you limit parts of your life or sexuality and you have nowhere to talk about it, I've taught women with cerebral palsy and MS how to twerk in their wheelchair, and people will laugh at that, but it's really not funny. They deserve to feel sexy too. And I've had people find me in a clinic and they say, I saw you on Instagram, or you were doing something crazy, and then I looked you up and you are so smart. I want you to be my doctor. And that's really how miracles happen, because people feel that alignment and they feel my passion and my purpose. And
So let's talk about the trauma too, because like, what is the cause of like the pelvic floor needling? Basically, like, what is the cause, and why is the pelvic floor so important? Including like, where does it come from? The stagnation, stiffness. What is the kind of the outcome of pelvic floor exercise and dry needling for all these women out there?
Gotcha. So, pelvic floor trauma can happen from sexual abuse, from birth, tearing these muscles. There's tons of ligaments, and it's like a bowl, where all your organs are on. So, if they get weak, you can have prolapse, and there's a lot of different things that can happen. For myself, I had a C-section, I've had a colostomy bag, I've had my intestines dilated every 2 years. So I've had a lack of sensation down there. I've had to help myself express my bowels through going in the vaginal canal, to bring stimulation and do abdominal massage. But really, where the needles go, blood flows, energy goes. And I still can't feel my bikini line. But recently I started feeling, more important parts, which make me very happy. And it takes time when you are rebuilding nerves and nerve endings. So I don't want women to get discouraged. And sometimes you could be hypersensitive, so then they don't want to be touched at all. And that's where it's good to get different type of devices to desensitize yourself, because you could have no sensation, too much sensation, and people think something's wrong with them. But all of this is very normal after trauma. The nerves can go in either direction. And then, just like a baseball player that could tear their rotator cuff and they don't want to throw hard because they have a limit on their mind, that they could hurt themselves. I do have to open the door for my clients soon. But so they have a limit on their mind, and then they will limit themselves when they are having relationships, when they're walking, when they're doing sports, maybe even choosing clothing based on how their sensation is below. So, yeah, there's a lot of different things, and dry needling is a Western philosophy. A lot of people know acupuncture, which is Eastern, and it's a lot about chi, blood flow. You could talk about sexuality, pregnancy, and things like that. For dry needling, you can talk about range of motion, getting rid of pain, and things that are more measurable for a Western trained doctor. Because I am a yogi,
Is it something that could change someone's life?
100%. I just had a man. I just had a man here, and so now we're just switching quickly to a story about a man, and then I have to go because my patient's here. But I had a man who had a pelvic floor issue, and I was dry needling around the hip and the knee, and you could hear a pop. And he's like, "Whoa! Like, what type of witchcraft was that?" But the area around the groin that was like tight and whirling, and around the hip that was wrapping around his ass, you know, all of a sudden let go. And it's great for everybody. If you look up meridian pathways, there's these points on the body, the ear, the face, the foot, the hand, and it goes to different parts of your body. So you don't always have to touch the pelvic floor. You can go somewhere else, but it's magical. And I definitely recommend everybody try it.
Real quick, how do people find you? What's your handles? And if they want to learn more, give us it, please.
Yay. So as you can see behind me, the Exerscience Center, you can go to that website and there's social icons on the top. If anybody knows Linktree, if you go to Linktree, linktr.ee/biohacker, you can find a link to the Queen of Biohacking, to the Zen Powerhouse, to the Exerscience Center. You can book now. You can buy your anti-aging products. I get credit. So use the code QUEEN. And you can also call the office, 813-803-7070.
Oh, thank you so much. This is really special, Dr. Leiva. Until next time, I'd like to have you on again because this topic, we just scratched the surface. So likely here in a little while, let's have another show and cover a little bit more of the topic. And she does have a franchise yoga studio called
Zen Powerhouse. So make sure to follow. And if you're in Lutz, Florida, Tampa, Florida, definitely try out a class. If you mention this podcast, the class is on me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Leiva.
You're welcome. I'll see you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, so there we have it. We learned a little bit about women's health and something that you could do to actually change your life. It sounds very interesting, likely, but there is a huge science behind it. Energy, circulation, removing traumas of the past. And likely you've heard a lot of trauma from her that she experienced. And that's what I find in the best healers. And these are the people that I will have on my show. Quite few of these people, handfuls of people out of thousands and thousands of people I met. So there's a unique aspect to these types of healers. Some are not so much academically trained. But of course, Dr. Leiva has went full circle, not only having the academic side, but also like this Eastern side. She does yoga, she does dry needling. She's merged a bunch of technology so that when people come and see her, she can give her some of the most amazing outcomes. And as a man, all I can tell you is she has a huge success rate. I've spoken to a lot of her patients. We were at her grand opening not too long ago, and you wouldn't believe the amount of women that go and support her who had trauma, who had major things I can't discuss even very well. But I thought I would guide you to places that you could get more information, something that could actually just totally change your life. And we've got a couple questions here. So, thank you guys for commenting and getting the message out. Of course, share, like, it's all going to help get this message out with these unique audience members and speakers that I'll have here. So I've got a question here from Gerardo. Will these beds work with ankylosing spondylitis? Okay. So on a kind of foundational level, right, to get a physiological issue like this, if you want to call it a disease, to take care of a disease like this, it would take a couple different things. Foundationally, I'll talk about our sponsor, Anti-Aging Bed. Realize there's a language that goes to a name of a disease, that a lot of the diseases are just the name of the symptom. It has nothing to do with the core issue, the root cause issue. If you hear about RFK, he says the system's a mess because the names they're giving are basically going toward a symptom, but not a root cause issue. So if there was a root cause issue of this, likely the best thing that you could do is actually get a scan. A scan would be a powerful way to figure out what's going on, and then using frequency medicine on this specific issue, this root issue, and likely you'd be surprised what could happen. I think the missing link for a lot of people is the frequency medicine. And I've had so many people here, celebrities, stars, A-listers, and you'd be surprised that the last thing they've ever thought about is using real frequency medicine. I realized a long time ago when I had my own healing journey that why didn't I know about this sooner? Why does it work so well? Why are there no side effects? And we know for a fact that the big pharma industry was monopolized in the early 1900s by the Rockefellers. The Rockefellers took over our school systems with the education program. They took over the AMA and all of the health organizations, and they pushed pharmaceutical-based, which really means patented also, but also it means petroleum-based medicine. The stuff you make plastic out of, the stuff that we use in our cars, that's the medicine that they're using. It's called big pharma. Remember, the word pharma came from farm, the food on the farm. That was our real medicine. Medicine was food. The man-made version was to take things like medical marijuana. Actually, if you look this up, this is a very interesting topic. How did they create big pharma? What was one of the first things what plant they took? They actually took marijuana, and they broke it down into about 360 different isotopes or different chemicals. And the company was Eli Lilly. Eli Lilly was the first company to synthesize marijuana and create many different formulations. And so that's when they outlawed marijuana. And that's why, Big Pharma was created based off of a plant that they demonized. So realize the unlearning that has to occur to actually understand and realize what I'm talking about. Lots of cool stuff here. And so, yes, thank you for that, Gerard. If you want some more information, in the comment, hit Baxter, visit Anti-Aging Bed to get more information on this, and someone would reach out to you. Thank you for the question. I have another question here. Christy, I understand the need to be grounding before doing the bed. How much grounding is required, and how much does one know we are grounded? Great question, Christy. Essentially, the meter comes with the bed cover, so you can always prove the grounding, whether it's working or not. So if you want to know, since the beginning of time, we've always been grounded. Did you know leather moccasins is the typical choice of shoe worn in our ancient past? And because it's animal skin, it's conductive. We're conductive. Our skin's conductive as well. So when people were using leather tan shoes as moccasins, they were actually grounded as well. So how much does one need? I would say someone would need as much exposure to the outside world as they are grounded. Grounded is a good baseline. So if you're sleeping grounded, perfect, because you get 8 hours a night. We hear people talk about grounding that really know very little about grounding. Actually, Gary Brecka says you only need 15, 30 minutes of grounding. Well, on a small token of that, he's not an expert in this area, but also, any amount of grounding is going to help, of course. But really, the amount of time you're in front of your gadgets and this type of thing, in front of all this stuff, or food that you're eating has a lot of toxins. The more grounding you have, the more reduction in voltage that you have. And of course, a lot of people say when you get grounded, it reduces your inflammation. So if you're living with pain, a lot of people say that when you're grounded, you really don't feel pain. So it's at that level. You're discharging the free radicals. You're discharging the voltage. On the flip side of that, you're getting electron antioxidants. And those are the key. That's the key element. The antioxidant is giving your body, of course, on a smaller level, these electrons. And these electrons are what neutralize the damage that ensues. So great question, Christy. I hope that answers it. And there's a lot of good stuff here, but we are basically over on time. I wanted to thank you guys so much for joining the show. Thank you for all your comments. Thank you for listening. And until next time, please like, share, comment to get the message out. And if you go to our website, thebaxtereffect.com, you'll be able to check out all the podcasts. We are streaming live on all the different platforms now. So it's super exciting. So thank you guys so much. And until next time, check us out, The Baxter Effect.